Hello, Stephen. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And if you would like to maybe kick off by telling us why you're here.
Yep. So I work for the Open Geospatial Consortium, known as the OGC, which provides geospatial and location standards for a huge number of industries and disciplines worldwide. And at DGI 2011, there are probably somewhere in the region of 50 members from the OGC. So we decided to come and work with our members to support DGI 2011 and to explain some of the work that's going on around areas like defence intelligence, emergency disaster management and security.
So, well, standards, it's the big word, it's the buzzword of the moment. So, although it is the big buzzword, it seems like no one's really in a real hurry to get to that point. They all want to use their own systems, but they're not really nailing down the standards. What can we do to persuade the industry to all work together?
Okay, so there are two things that I guess I've noticed over the last 6 to 12 months that people are listening to. One is around some of the technical interoperability is what people have always talked about around standards. The technical interoperability has been achieved. It's been shown, there are great examples from all the OGC members. People are using the standards worldwide. So that's been achieved. I think it's moving into more of the sort of cultural and political interoperability and getting people to buy in from a policy perspective around standards and driving it almost top down. Now, to do that, the second thing then comes in, which is business value. Why should people use standards? We need to go beyond interoperability and say, what does interoperability enable? That's the key thing we need to do. So one of the things we're working on is we've created a business value committee, which is looking at why would you join the OGC, a global standards organisation, and why would you use the standards that come out of an organisation like OGC?
Okay, and are you finding that there's also, beyond the defence realms, that you've also got to encourage outside entities as they start to feed into what defence networks are using for intelligence, that actually we need to expand and put the standards out to basically globally?
So yeah, essentially what's happening is as borders are coming down around the world, with communication increasing, with the availability and the accessibility of information, there really are no borders from that perspective. That's a kind of technology view. But then when you have things like disasters, tsunamis, floods, weather incidents, emergency response, stuff like that, all of these things don't know boundaries either. So the borders are coming down from that perspective. So you have to get communities working together who can talk the same language. So in the defence community, they talk about specific things that mean things to them in their syntax, in their lexicon, in their language. Other industries who need to use that data or who need to work together in an interoperable manner with those communities need to understand and be able to share information in their community. So we work across a number of communities. We work with weather, we work with aviation, we work with the ocean, the hydro people. We work in a vast number of domains where people are sharing all this information, this geospatial information, to do things that improve lives, help respond to emergencies and can save lives. So yes, we need to do more and more cross-community collaboration.
And on that note, looking specifically at the OGC, I know it may seem fairly obvious, but what's the relevance to the defence and intelligence communities of the OGC specifically, rather than just standards as a whole? Why can't they just do it on their own?
So, historically, the OGC has really worked in this community. We've got some very long-standing relationships with organisations like National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. We've worked with DSTL here, we work with DIGO in Australia. So we're really working in that defence area, but we're also working in the sort of broader security area. And like I said, as the defence forces and emergency response organisations are getting involved across not just what would traditionally be their area of involvement, but they're starting to work in a whole host of different areas. The geospatial element is the thing that's common to them all, the location part. And that's what OGC does, is location or geospatial standards. So that's our relevance. We make location count through our standards.
So budget cuts. We've been hearing about it for the last couple of years. It's a really big deal. Defence is being cut, everything's being cut. How can we justify investing in the OGC?
Okay. I mean, there's the response that would be expected is that standards save time and improve efficiency and long-term help reduce risk, and they give you a technology investment, and all of that's true, and I agree with all of that. But there are some real practical things within within the sort of the structure of the OGC around the processes and procedures, where we have what's called an interoperability program, and within our interoperability program, people can come in, organisations can come in as sponsors, they can come in as observers, they can come in as participants, and the communities can work together on shared problems. Now, trying to mobilise that kind of activity in a community would be really, really difficult and really expensive. And we have return on investment figures that show within the interoperability programme that for every dollar or euro invested, you'll get a 3 to 4 times return on that investment in terms of the labour put into it, in terms of the energy, in terms of the development, in terms of the output that comes. And all of that is based around geospatial standards.
So finally, I was watching your presentation earlier and you were talking about the cloud, which of course is a big deal in the whole of the IT industry right now. Why is it so important for geospatial technology and geospatial defence to be backing the cloud?
I think it's just another. The cloud's important in terms of like the flexibility, the elasticity, the scalability, all those things that it offers. From an OGC perspective, the standards have been designed around essentially a mainstream IT approach. So as the cloud's developed, as things like grid computing and virtualization and cloud have all emerged, OGC has been supporting that evolution, and the standards have been developed and the work on the standards has grown in the same way. So cloud is definitely important because the volumes of data are growing exponentially. And we're talking about sort of petabytes of information, certainly terabytes of information. So the cloud provides an environment for being able to sort of access and share and have flexible pricing and have business models that are effective in that area. But from an OGC perspective, it really is just another platform for us to work on. So I think it's important, but in the context of looking at what we do as an IT approach using location rather than a geospatial approach trying to drive into IT. So we're really trying to do everything based around IT, and the cloud is a real IT approach. So that's one of the reasons why we support the activities in the cloud as well.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.